Be sure to subscribe for more content. What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day today. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Luna Classic, what has happened to its price recently, and where I predict the price to go to within the near future, as well as some key levels I'm looking out for as well. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And of course, if you appreciate the daily analysis content here on YouTube, then be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. So Luna Classic, what has happened to it over recently? Let's get those annotations back on. And as we can see, it's looking kind of cool in here. It looks like a bit of a disco with all these trend lines going about the place. But in all seriousness, I do think it's really significant that we have these two trend lines here that kind of intersected each other the way they did, because as you can see, we have this green line here. So in the beginning, after this 80% pump, we had the green line as a strong support for us. You know, the price bounced off it several times in this region, and of course it dictated that bullish trend that we saw up until this part here. And this red line here was our resistance. So again, the price came up to test it a few times and finally broke through it with this massive price action. And you know, as soon as they intersect, the roles are completely reversed. So past this intersection here, we saw this green line, which was our support, is now our resistance. It got tested here a few times. And this red line, which was our resistance, is now our support, and again tested a few times. So you know, whereas this support line here in green was dictating the trend going in the bullish direction, we now have a red support line, and that's dictating the direction at the moment, kind of putting it in this bearish trend that we're seeing right now. And of course it is to be as expected. You know, people bought into the rumor that Binance was going to be burning this 14 billion, but in the end they burned 6 billion, which is still strongly bullish, which is still really good for Luna Classic. But you know, people eventually sell the news, and this is why we're seeing this drop over time here. But not all hope is lost, because you know, in yesterday's video I identified something that looked like this, a kind of triangle that was forming here. I actually made it kind of a bit more like this, and basically, with this triangle, we broke out on the bottom side here, and with this triangle, we should have seen a price target of around 28.2 cents, which is what I was looking out for, you know, when I was trading yesterday. So we did see this breakout on the bearish side, and we got down to 28.8 cents, and the price came back up to almost retest this triangle, as you can see there. And why is this significant? Well, this alone wouldn't have been too significant, but the fact is that I've seen multiple patterns. So I saw this rising wedge here as well, and again, we fell short of that price target. The price bounced back up and is now being held up in a similar fashion down here. So, you know, twice this has happened, and twice this makes me think that there is a lot of buyer support here on Luna Classic. I think the prices aren't falling further because there's so much buyer support. There's strong community here in Luna Classic that are keeping the prices falling to their predicted price targets from the patterns that we're pointing out. Because, you know, for example, here we know for a fact we saw this rising wedge because we saw a breakout. The volume decreased here and increased on its breakout to the bottom side down there. So everything technically told us that this was a rising wedge, and yet the textbook price target was not reached in this downwards trend because of the strong buyer support. And to back up this evidence here, we can just add this volume profile range here, and you can see the amount of liquidity in this area. There's so much buyer support in this 27 to 31 cents region now, which is spectacular, because remember, we pumped 80%, and with an 80% pump, we'd expect investors to wait for a retracement before buying back in, because, you know, just risk reward and everything. But with Luna Classic, it's completely different. We see a lot of support in these regions. So basically, the lowest level I'm really still bullish at for Luna Classic is around this region here. So it lies at around 27.7 cents, because that is the bottom end of where the liquidity is. If we fall below that level, we can see there that there's no support whatsoever. There's very little support, buyers or sellers in this region. So, you know, there's nothing going to be holding up the price below this 27.7 cent region there. So if we fall below that price, I'm bearish. I do think the price could crash quite quickly, but as long as we're still in this region, we're seeing a lot of buyer support, and we still got some good news ahead. So I do think, you know, things could be looking less bearish in the future. Of course, firstly, we need to break through this blue resistance here. So this kind of blue resistance has been dictating this downwards trend. We've seen several tests here, 1, 2 in this region, and now we've got several tests in this area as well. So we really need to do something with this blue line, because obviously at the moment it looks like if we adhere to that blue line, we could be heading, you know, into a bearish direction very, very quickly. Of course, I'm looking for the support to hold us as well. And, you know, with this pattern here, we could be seeing a falling wedge. So first things first, if we can't hold this support here and we just break through below it and adhere to this resistance in blue that we're seeing, then, you know, that's ultimately bearish, and I do think we're going to be crashing a lot further. If we can hold that red support there and we go through this resistance here, then I do expect some upwards movement. And my reasoning for that is because, one, this is a strong resistance that we've had over the past 5 days now. So if we break it, naturally, that should incur a decent bullish move, particularly if there's a lot of volume and a lot of momentum accompanying that. So large green candles essentially, and this volume indicator down here kind of rising. And 2, because we could potentially be seeing a falling wedge. Now, this isn't a typical falling wedge. Typically, they happen on a shorter time frame, but nonetheless, it can be defined as a falling wedge. And we do see that volume decrease. So you see, if we draw an average of where the volume is, it's generally following this downhill trend. So if we see a breakout, and this is indeed a falling wedge, then we should see the volume really spike upon the breakout, and we could see the price go a lot higher up as well. Of course, the price target for it is very, very ambitious, but very possible as well. The price target there would be 23% gain, so up to 36-ish if that is a falling wedge indeed. But obviously, be sure to take those profits on the way up if you are trading this as a falling wedge. And of course, keep your eye on the markets as well. The stock market is starting to do a turnaround here. And last time we did a turnaround, we saw this nice little bear market rally. So from literally 360 to 430 there. So, if we could be following something similar here on the stock market, then we could see the price do something. Then we could see the price potentially get to a region around 415 once again. And of course, if that happens, then that's going to have a bullish influence on cryptocurrency in general, as well as in cryptocurrency in general. So not just Luna Classic, but every single crypto as well. So keep your eyes peeled on what the stock market is doing there, and on Bitcoin as well. Again, Bitcoin is back in the 20,000s, and it's broken through its long-term resistance. So we could see some more price action and everything like that. And of course, if Bitcoin is bullish, then we could see more bullish movement on Luna Classic. And of course, we do have an announcement in 4 days as well on the 10th of October about how much Binance is going to be burning. So this could very well be feasible in the sense that we've got some good news coming up ahead of us. We could be seeing a bear market rally on the S&P and therefore on cryptocurrencies as well, and we could see the price do this kind of rally. Obviously, the price target would be 36 cents if this was indeed a falling wedge, but if it does break out in the way that I've described, then I'll be taking profits at all these fib levels. So taking a good portion in this fib level, and then this fib level, then this fib level, and just on the way up until we get to that 36 mark there. So these are just some of the levels that I'm looking at if we do break through. And of course, that's a massive if we do break through. And of course, another scenario I'm looking at is the price just to not respect that blue line at all, that resistance there, and just to consolidate in a pattern like this. And this, if we do something like that, then I'll be looking out for consolidation patterns such as a triangle. We could be seeing something like this in the longer run as well. So maybe what we see is a breakout to this resistance here, and then we consolidate in a fashion like this. And then of course, this would be tradable as a triangle, but of course, this is over the span of a couple of days. So I'm really looking out for what it does when it gets to this blue line here. Do we see a massive rally up here, or does it just seem to consolidate without much volume increase, without much momentum at all? And if so, then we could be following this triangle. But of course, because it's over a few days, I will make another video on this tomorrow. If we do follow this, I'll be specifying those price targets in there. But that's all I have to say in this video, really. Basically, I'm looking at this blue line and what we do here, which is the most important thing for me at the moment. And of course, this support here, can we hold this support up, and can we hold up at least 27 cents here on Luna Classic? And so that's what I'm seeing right now. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next. Take care.